Good morning, everyone on the phone. Thanks for joining us today. My name's Sean Brook. I'm the president of Seed World, and we have the illustrious and well-read Michelle Klieger here today to walk us through some discussion and demo on Seed World Pro. And I will turn it over to you. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. And so the goal of today is to get everyone a little bit more familiar with the tools, training, resources, everything about Seed World Pro to help you get the most out of your membership. Hopefully you know by now that it is a knowledge platform where we try to give seed industry professionals the tools, trainings, and peer support they need to grow their businesses and their careers. So we're going to walk through today the three pillars of content, concierge, and community that are the basis of Seed World Pro. And I'm going to highlight some of the different resources, how to find it, how to use it, and why it's presented in the way it is. So a big thing that we tried to achieve with Seed World Pro is not just throwing more information at you, but working with leading consultants, leading associations, universities, subject matter experts to bring you really targeted and important information, as well as presenting it in a way that resonates with you. So whether that is audio, visual articles, and so really showing you how to find those things and how they can be used in your business or in your personal career. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to walk through a lot that Seed World has to offer. Seed World Pro has to offer in the next 15 to 20 minutes. If you have questions, if there are features or ideas that you have, please type them into the chat and Sean will answer all of your questions. And that's really what I have laid out for the next 20 minutes or so. Before we start, this is the second demo. When you signed up, you might have noticed that you had the choice for either Thursday or Friday. And so you lucked out, I think, by going to the second demo. There was a lot of good things that came out of yesterday. There's some improvements to be made today. Hopefully you are getting your Seed World Pro newsletter. And you might have been hinted at that, this is a community. And I think that's where I want to start today, that this is a community of seed industry professionals on the Seed World Pro side that is putting together and curating information on seed topics, but it's also a community on the member side. So it's not another news site where you go in and you read an article or you watch a video and you leave, right? We want to know who's in the community. We want to know what problems you are facing and move with you to come up with solutions. So starting with, I think the feature that in my mind adds the most value is in my opinion, is the concierge service. And so this is really where you come to get questions answered that are seed specific, that are questions that you can't just type into Google to find the answer to. So you might be wondering, there are a lot of questions that you can type into Google and understand. What is a marketing plan? Who's the, director of the National Plant Protection Office in my country? What's the name of the local seed association? Like, those are things that you could probably take a guess of what terms to type into Google, and you would get an answer, and that would probably help you. But here is what Seed World Pro is really trying to offer is an opportunity to get questions answered that are not something that you would be able to type into Google. So to understand what the starting salary is for a plant pathologist, how many, what certificates do you need to excel at this topic in your profession? So those really specific seed topics that make sense to our experts and our team is used to answering all the time. And that would be hard to find on your own. So those questions, I think, are really the crux of what I think is the most special about this platform. So we have teamed up with advisors, and the advisors are people that are subject matter experts in their field and that have seed specific information. So if you really did want to know the starting salary of a plant pathologist, then you could submit that question and Erica from Ag Careers would get back to you with that data. If you are, having a question about, well, seed is only partial containers, and how do I move through ports? How do I manage, letters of credit? Like very specific seed topics. Karen works with companies that are trying to build those practices into their business. So if you're looking for that, if you have a specific question, then I think these are the people that can either answer that question for you quickly and easily, or can set up a time to discuss a longer term project that would give you that information. And so the list of advisors are people that have seed experience and can answer these unique questions that are hard to find answers for. And this list is growing and changing over time as the needs of the members adjust. And then this really goes into, these are the specific questions that we're getting, and these are the challenges that people are facing. So these are questions that we can specifically answer. But like most things, right, if one person raises their hand, there's often a lot more people that have that same question. When I worked in DC, most of the congressional offices would tell you that they had some kind of math, that for every letter that they got from a constituent, they expected that probably 7 to 10 other constituents shared that same thought, but wouldn't reach out. And so we know that the questions that the experts are getting are questions that maybe you specifically have, but are general questions that are important to the seed industry. And then they become the basis for the rest of the content that we provide. So I really wanted to draw that point out today and to explain how the interactions work, one with our experts, but two, behind the scenes in that concierge service is sort of this matchmaking piece as well. So right now we have 6 advisors listed on the advisory board, and there are hundreds of people already in the Seed World Pro community. And so through our engagement, through the concierge team's engagement, it might not be that one of the experts can answer our question, but that we can take this time and the opportunity of knowing who's members and direct you to peer support. So by having people across the industry, across the globe, with different job functions, the community itself is really a valuable resource. And for me, I learned that in my graduate program, it was cohort-based. And while I learned a ton from the professor, I think I learned just as much from the 25 other agriculture professionals going through the program with me. Their experience on the job was able to teach me things and help me improve my business and my career. So it is a combination of this curated information as well as the strength of both the community that Seed World Pro brings to the table, as well as what the members bring to the table. So that is really what I think is most powerful. And if I happen to lose you right now, I would feel comfortable that you learned a little bit more about Seed World Pro. However, I do want to go through and give you an actual demo of the site and how everything is laid out. So the first thing that you need to know, and hopefully you've seen before, is that all of the content, all of the materials are divided into 3 categories. So they are innovate, profit, and grow. And when you see innovate, we are talking about everything that has to do with the science of the seed industry. So this could be plant breeding, it could be plant pathology, it could be genetics, molecular markers, seed treatments, biochemistry, all of those hard sciences that are a critical part of our business are in innovate. In addition to the sciences, there are topics on intellectual property. So there's this piece on Brexit and what it means for plant breeders' rights. If you need to protect your science, the intellectual property is an important feature in helping you innovate. And then the other piece is the communications. How do you talk about the sciences? We all know that, we understand our industry and we are in a position to be the best advocates, and agriculture in general, the seed industry is no exception, need to be better at talking about what we do and why. And that's with members of our industry, members of the larger farm community, regulators, and the general public. So anything that talks about the science of the seed industry will also be in innovate. The next category is profit. So you can get to it by clicking on the profit in the navigation bar, or you can go down here and see some of the more recent pieces. And so profit is probably the heaviest, the largest of the 3 categories. And I like to divide it up into 3 subcategories. So the first one would be expanding your markets. So if there's a way for you to take advantage of a new market and grow your business, that would be in profit. So profit are ways that we can help your business succeed. So one example is this vegetable seed industry, or vegetable seed opportunities in Uzbekistan. It is part of a larger market reports that we have on multiple countries and are filling out with experts from those countries. So you might not know a lot about Uzbekistan, but you are interested. So this could be, an introductory step to learning more about that market. So how to grow your market is the first one. And then the second piece of how to grow your market might be understanding trends. So this too shall pass. Selling seed after COVID-19 is an expert opinion on where industry trends are going and how we're going to adjust. So those might be some points that you can leverage in your business as you are figuring out how to pivot right now. The second part of profit is how to prevent losses, right? So this could be something like this piece right here, which is talking about you've just moved your entire team remote and cybersecurity is a major concern. How do you protect your business against time, money, and resource losses attached to losses in your business, as well as other regulations that might come up that would be a stumbling block for your business? Yes, Sean, you can jump in.
Thank you. I just wanted to suggest that perhaps another place that this can be used, if we're not using this information to actually run a seed company, that we can actually use this information to generate our conversations. I don't run a seed company, but I have these conversations literally every day. And this information is what populates those conversations. I think if I'm a salesperson, if I'm anyone that's reaching out to anyone in the seed industry, that this information can help to create those conversations, give me information to talk to my audience about, whether that's on the phone, whether that's on Zoom, whether that's on GoToMeeting, or whether sooner or later that will be in person.
Hopefully sooner, right?
Sooner.
Thank you. That I think is an excellent point, that it really is, the entire industry, and selling seeds is just one piece of it. And the last part of profit is talent, and how you think about your talent and how you use your talent to maximize your business potential. So for this, we've teamed up with Purdue, and they have their Talent Management Academy. And so how they think about talent and how you can use some of those resources to change how you think about your culture and what kind of incentives you offer to maximize the return you're getting from your employees. And then the final part is grow. And grow is an opportunity for either you to grow your personal career. So if you're looking to advance in your management track, that might be an option. Or if Seed World Pro is a resource that you're supplying for your employees, this might be something that they are interested in. And so if you have employees that you're trying to help them grow in their careers, there's a lot of materials here on leadership, on time management, and on other topics that industry professionals are looking for to get to the next part of their career. And so that's one of the things that we think about when we are looking for new content. It is for people trying to grow their businesses, which you would see in profit. And it's also it's also a tool for you to give your employees, to give them, whether it's trainings and opportunities in personal growth, or if it's a way to give them access to this other information, like Sean mentioned, to be a more well-rounded individual and understand what other parts of the industry are dealing with and help in that communication. So everything that we cover is going to be labeled either innovate, profit, or grow. Sometimes things fit into more than one category, but we do try to stick with each one. And in the newsletter, you will see upcoming pieces that are labeled. So if you are entering the site and you resonate with one of those three categories, hopefully this will help you start to figure out where you want to look. Now, once you have figured out what types of information you want to cover, there is a long list of ways that we can present information. And personally, I think that's one of the strengths of Pro, is that our goal is to make sure that you are getting information you need, but in a way that makes sense to you and that you want to interact with it. So it is not all articles, it is not all videos. Each piece, really, we work with the contributor to figure out the best way to present that information. So there are several, or a bunch of, one of the feature pieces would be Pro Power Talks. So these are webinar style. So they often have slides. They're often more of a presentation. Sometimes there is a discussion with the host, but it's really focused on the presenter and them giving information to the audience, generally, again, with slides in a presentation style. We also, if they mention resources in their training or in this discussion, we've included links to some of those resources and how they specifically apply to the seed industry, as well as at the end, there are self-assessments. And so these are, you can download it, or here's an example example of one, you can answer basic questions about the piece. So we've, all get burnt out being on video chat all day or trying to absorb information. There's good research that shows that this self-test at the end really helps focus you during the video, helps you make sure you got the most salient point out, and is just a positive feature for a lot of people trying to engage with new content. And then the other piece of it is, if you are offering this service for your employees and you do want to feel like you do want to have that accountability, then the self-test is something that you can require your employees do to make sure that they didn't just hit play and go find something else to do. That level of accountability. The next type of information is white papers. And so if you are in the vegetable seed industry, you may have heard last year that the United States Department of Agriculture put pretty strict testing requirements on tomato and pepper seeds. It happened twice. It rarely happens, and it created a lot of indigestion across the vegetable seed industry. And it was in a lot of trade publications, as well as it made its way into a lot of general media publications. But you can imagine that in a general media publication, or even in a trade publication, it's really focused on making sure that vegetable seed companies and consumers can understand the requirement enough to comply with it. And so it would have been a short piece, and it probably would have just included the most breaking news points. And so one of the things that we can do with white papers is really expand. I'm not limited to 300 or 500 words. This is actually a 11-page paper that walks you through step by step what happened, why it happened. So some of the politics and situations that led up to these requirements, what the requirements are, and what the implications are. Now, if you also wanted to understand not just what happened and why, but you needed a timeline, if you needed a glossary, if you wanted statistics to really understand, all of those pieces are bundled together here. So it's not just a news story, it helps you understand how this fits into your business if you're not a trade expert. And it gives you a more comprehensive approach, and doesn't expect you to be a trade expert, because we know that you don't want to be, but you might want to have a better understanding of what's going on. So that is the white papers, and these really are deeper dives into specific conversations or specific topics within the seed industry. Did that. Next one is podcasts. So podcasts are more conversational in discussion. It is a 20 to 30-minute conversation with an expert on a specific topic. There's a host, so they're designed to be, again, very conversational and much less of a formal presentation. When you're looking for the podcast, they are the ones with the music notes on them. When you click on the podcast, it will take you to a synopsis of the podcast, and then you will get this player. So you can listen right here in the site. You can download the broadcast and listen to it whenever you want, or you can click on this subscribe to podcast, and it will give you a link so that you can upload it into the podcast player of your choice, and take it with you on your smartphone. So most people listen to podcasts while they exercise, while they do chores. They used to listen while they drove in the car. And so this is a way that you can take these conversations with you. We have articles, as you would expect. There are interactive websites. So instead of an article that might be hard to digest, we have these interactive websites that really present the information in a more engaging way. And so this helps, again, keep engagement, highlight the key points, and give you a different way to really interact with the material, again, in a way that will help you retain as much of it as possible. And I think the piece that we are most excited about, and that really the members that are using the site have said that they find really helpful, is these units. And this is exactly that. It is a unit. Karen Withers put together 8 steps to export success, and you click Start Now. And it takes you to a course. It tells you a little bit about the course. It tells you an overview of the categories you are going to cover. And then when you click Start Course, it actually tracks your progress. So the first step in these 8 steps is to know your product. And so we have statistics or information, questions that you should be asking, examples, and then within here there are audio files and additional readings. And as you can see, I'm in progress right now on knowing your product. I did not get credit for finishing it because I only scrolled 75% of the way down. And when I finish it, I can move on to the next step. So these are 8 steps that you are able to use in order to improve your export sales. It tracks your progress. You get to see how far you're complete. And if you were to leave and come back, it would keep your progress going. So this is really something that gives you a comprehensive overview of the topic and really gives you different angles to look at. So again, there's been a lot of uptake of these types of units. So that really, again, is the content. I think a lot of people come to Seed World Pro with their experience with Seed World or Germinations or European Seed and expect great content. And so this really is one of the big pieces, and that is hopefully how you have a better understanding of what's available and how to find what you're looking for. We talked about the concierge service in the beginning and how this is, a lot of this content that we saw is built off of questions from the concierge. So there's an opportunity for you to ask one-on-one questions. There's an opportunity for you to get information that your peers are asking about. And then there's an opportunity for you to engage with your peers. So there are 2 ways to engage with your peers. One is this LinkedIn community, and I encourage you to participate, to leave comments, to post things that you think are important. So the way I use this is I use it as an opportunity to talk to members, to pose questions, to see where people are. I use it as an opportunity to promote some pieces that may have, I want to bring to your attention, or to share stories or articles that I've seen in the news that don't really fit into the Seed World Pro model. However, I think that they would be useful to share with the community. And so here's where I can share those. And honestly, if there's enough uptake and enough interest, I might then, try to find an expert to build that into a unit on Seed World Pro. So this is really a place for you guys to get to know each other, to share ideas, and to grow your businesses. There's a lot of research that shows that spillover effects are real, and this is a place for you to have those conversations and to learn from other people in the community. And the last place that there is community building is that it comes in the form of a virtual discussion that I am organizing for the beginning of May. And so I'm putting together 15 people from totally different job titles, different sectors of the seed industry, not just seed companies, again, the entire industry. I have 4 countries represented so far, and this 15-person discussion is going to talk about where the seed industry is going and the different perspectives from those various individuals. I'm planning for it to be an hour, and it will be a facilitated discussion. So the agenda will be based on who's there, and I will be moderating the conversation. So I think that this is a great way for people to get to know each other within the Seed World community and to get to meet more people, especially now when we are having less meetings. I think that this is a great opportunity because for me, when I leave a meeting energized, it's because I had one of these interesting conversations that happen when you catch people in the hallway. So right now we have to be a little bit more deliberate with that, which makes it a little bit more awkward, I understand. But it really is an opportunity to have an interesting conversation and get to know more people and more perspectives. So, Seed World Pro is really built on these 3 pillars. It's the specialized information you get from the concierge. It is the amazing content and breadth of content covered in the content, as well as the community. And the community piece, I think, is really what separates Seed World Pro from a news site. Sean, is there anything else you want to throw in?
No, great job. I think that's an excellent overview of the platform. I shot a note out to everyone that if they had any other further questions, that I included my email address. If they wanted to forward me directly any questions, I would make sure that it got into the right hands to answer the question or answer it myself. The joy of working with people that are exponentially smarter than me, like you, Michelle, is I get to forward the questions off to you to get them the right answer. I think I know everybody's running at 100 miles an hour, and time is of the essence. So if there is any other questions, you're welcome to forward them via email, and then we will go from there. I'd like to thank you, Michelle, for giving us a great tour of Seed World Pro.
Thank you for joining us, and I assume this will be available if people want to revisit or share.
Absolutely, it'll be available on Seed World Pro.
Great.
Have a great day, everyone.